Yo, what's going on, guys? KrispyFlakes. For today's video, we are going to continue the series, the NBA Today. If every team's all-time greatest power forward replaced the starting power forward of the current NBA team. So yes, we did this for a few positions already. As we go through this, guys, keep in mind, man, that guys like Chris Bosh and Charles Barkley are not in NBA 2K19. So of course, those will be some of the best out there, but at the same time, they're on the game. So therefore, we had to use the second player on the list. So here we go. We are going to go through the roster, see what these teams are looking like. And honestly speaking, the power forward position is actually one of the more interesting videos for this topic, just because I feel like that's one of the positions that has like changed big time. It used to be the style of play was like posting up and, you know, playing on the inside like the center, while these days teams like to go more like small ball, so that way you get guys that are like 6'7", 6'8" at the power forward position. You know, guys like Draymond Green, they can play on the outside. So I'm very curious to see how some of these, you know, more traditional power forwards play in this current era of the NBA. But yeah, so looking at the Philadelphia 76ers, we got George McGinnis right there. Don't know much about them. Looks like he probably played like the 70s era. I guess he didn't really have a very long career or anything like that. Although I guess this only goes up to age 26, so that's why he played up to that age. For the Milwaukee Bucks, we do have Vin Baker. So I know Giannis has been playing power forward for the team, but he is listed as a small forward in NBA 2K19, so for that reason, guys, he's going to be listed right there. So yeah, we got Vin Baker. For the Chicago Bulls, we got Dennis Rodman. Did you guys just see this man, Dennis Rodman, talk so much trash towards Joel Embiid? Because Joel Embiid said that Michael Jordan is not the GOAT of basketball. He actually said that Wilt Chamberlain is. And Dennis Rodman had so much stuff to say about that, guys. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, very curious how Dennis would play in today's NBA. He is only 6'7", so I think he would be like Draymond Green without a jump shot, which is basically just Draymond Green anyway. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, we do have Kevin Love listed as the best power forward of all time on that team as an 87 overall. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, he had some pretty solid seasons there with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. And of course, he's still on the team right now. For the Boston Celtics, we do have Kevin McHales. So yeah, looking at Kevin McHales' numbers, definitely one of the best power forwards of his era. Look at this season, guys. 26 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks per game. And that was all essentially played on the inside. For the Clippers, we have Blake Griffin. Of course, you know, Blake Griffin, the way he plays basketball now is a lot different than how he played on the Clippers. On the Clippers, he never really had much of a jump shot, and he was more like powerhouse attacking the basket style of play. He's really developed his game for the Detroit Pistons. For the Memphis Grizzlies, we do have Zach Randolph. Zebo out there is an 88 overall. He was a lot of fun to watch, man. I remember him and Marc Gasol on that team with Mike Conley. Wasn't like that long ago, but I guess at this point, man, like when that team was really playing its best basketball, I mean, that was actually almost about 10 years ago now. So that's kind of insane that's gone by that fast. For the Atlanta Hawks, we do have Bob Pettit. Once again, guys, he played like in the 60s, so I don't know much about him like highlight-wise. This was before three-point shooting was recorded. They didn't even have three-point shots back then, but I know he did like to shoot like the long ball and stuff like that, although it was only worth 2 points. But he also was known like as like a fundamental type of guy that played on the inside a lot. You will often see a lot of like basketball coaches. There's something called like the Bob Pettit drill, where you kind of like practice some of the fundamentals he did, and a lot of coaches use that to this day. For the Miami Heat, we do have Udonis Haslem. I know Chris Bosh is better, but Udonis Haslem is in the game. Of course, he's still on the team right now with Dwayne Wade. I don't know, man. I believe he was the starter on the team that won it with Shaquille O'Neal and Dwayne Wade. What was that, 2006 or whatever it was, man? Like, even at that time, he was just like a basic like role player power forward, but nonetheless, a beacon of consistency about 10 years ago. For the Charlotte Hornets, we do have scary Larry Johnson from Space Jam. You might know him as one of the Monstars. And yeah, he played in the 90s for the Hornets. About 21 points per game was his best season. I guess we had 22 and 11 right there. Definitely was a guy that could throw down that ball with authority out there, and, you know, tried being a little bit of a stretch big, and early on kind of struggled, but found his three-point shot midway through his career. Then after that, kind of fell off again and was kind of like up and down. So weird seeing a guy shoot like 24% and then shoot 36 and then 33. It's just like, you know, like what happens? Like, how do you lose that shot one season and you have it the next season? For the Utah Jazz, we do have Karl Malones. So he's going to be an absolutely perfect fit alongside Rudy Gobert. I know he was also more like a traditional like post-up type of power forward, but I believe he actually has a pretty good jump shot. Yeah, 95 mid-range shot, 80 shot open three. I do not remember him ever really being a three-point shooter. Although I guess this season he shot it at 40%. Probably only attempted a few a game though, but also another guy that had like some good seasons shooting it, and other seasons was just like, okay, I'm going to shoot 17%. So once again, do not understand that logic or mindset. For the Sacramento Kings, we do have Jerry Lucas. He played in the 60s mostly for the Sacramento Kings, and I believe he also, he was played for the New York Knicks for a few seasons too, but that was towards the tail end of his career. For the Knicks, we do have Dave Debusschere, who played in the 60s era. Also looks like he was a solid, man, just like an 18-point, 12-rebound type of guy out there. I think he also played for the Detroit Pistons. I think he played there for a few, I see that's right there, for a few seasons early on in his NBA career. For the Los Angeles Lakers, we do have Pau Gasol. So this can be fun to watch. Pau Gasol and LeBron James team up to see if those two can win a championship together. As we know, Paul did win it with Kobe Bryant. So let's see if LeBron can be Kobe. For the Magic, we have one of my favorite power forwards of all time, Rashard Lewis. This guy, 6'10", man. If he was in the NBA right now, he'd be absolutely perfect. He'd be shooting about 12 threes a game, knocking him down with consistency, but he was a little bit before his time. Just a little bit, man, by like one small decade of basketball. I mean, 10 years is a long time, though. For the Dallas Mavericks, no doubt it was going to be Dirk Nowitzki in his prime right there, 7'1", the German Mamba right there. Him and Luka Doncic would be absolutely deadly. Not to mention, you also would have Kristaps Porzingis, but in this case, Kristaps is the power forward, so not going to be in this video. For the Brooklyn Nets, we do have Buck Williams. He played in, looks like, the 90s era of basketball, also going into the 80s. Had a very long NBA career here, but, looking at his scoring, he was very solid. Good rebounder, too. Shot blocking, probably could have been a little bit better. He was only 6'8", though, so it makes sense that he would not absolutely dominate in that category. For the Denver Nuggets, we have Dan Issel, who played in the 70s and the 80s. Look at this season, man. 24 points, 9 rebounds per game. Has some really solid 20-point games out there. Career average at 20 and 8, so can't complain about that. That's a nasty looking man, though, man. I'm not going to say you're nasty. Just the player design is a little scary looking. For the Indiana Pacers, we do have Jermaine O'Neal. So I personally remember Jermaine O'Neal from the Malice at the Palace, punching the fans in the face and stuff like that. But I also remember him as being a really good basketball player for the Indiana Pacers, too. So got to give him props to that. For the Pelicans, we got Julius Randle actually listed as their all-time best power forward. They don't really have a lot of great talent on the historical roster. So yeah, Julius Randle, you win that one right there. For the Detroit Pistons, like I was saying, Dave Debusschere. Although you might be able to argue now Rasheed Wallace was the best power forward of all time, which I would probably go more that route, but Rasheed's not in the game, unfortunately speaking. For the Raptors, Pascal Siakam is listed as the best power forward all time in this game. The only reason is because Chris Bosh is not in there. But I guess I don't know if Raptor fans realize that. You guys have your second best power forward of all time playing on your roster right now at only the age of 24. So that's pretty cool. For the Houston Rockets, we do have Elvin Hayes. Yeah, he was always a solid 20-point, 10-rebound type of guy out there looking at his stats. Some good seasons for Houston. It's a really good season. Look at this year, guys. 28 points per game. 0 rebounds. Was that before they they must not recorded rebounds back then. But look when they started doing that, 21 and 18. So imagine what he was doing back then. How do you not record a rebound? That's just lazy. For the San Antonio Spurs, we have, in my opinion, the best power forward of all time, Tim Duncan. So yeah, the big fundamental right there for the San Antonio Spurs. For the Suns, we got Amari Stoudemire. Charles Barkley's not in the game, of course, but yeah, Amari Stoudemire. Some really good seasons with him and Steve Nash. Of course, he ended up getting, I believe he was traded to the Knicks or either signed with them, one of the two. But I remember when he was first starting to play some good basketball, he was taking the league by storm with his athletic plays. For the Thunder, we got the Rain Man, Sean Kemp, one of the best dunkers of all time. When this guy was going to the basket, you did not want to get in his way because he was going to throw it down in your face. For the Timberwolves, we have the big ticket, Kevin Garnett. Had some amazing seasons for this team, although, it was the same struggle as now where they were just in a really tough conference and they could not get to the playoffs. So eventually he found his way, cashing in that big ticket and going to the Boston Celtics. For the Trailblazers, we have LaMarcus Aldridge. Honestly, I kind of wish Lau was on that team right now, just because I feel like he'd be a big-time missing piece for their current roster. Him with Nurkic and Damian and CJ would be a pretty deadly duo, if you ask me. And then for the Warriors, Draymond Green is still listed as the best power forward of all time. Guys, this is the third video I've done on this so far, and every single time, the Warriors' current player has been their best all-time player. So take that into consideration with how great this team is. For the Wizards, of course, we do have Elvin Hayes. Yet again, we already looked at his stats, but you guys all saw what he did when he was starting to record rebounds and stuff like that. So here we go, man. As far as the team I want to follow for this simulation, I think I actually want to see how Kevin Garnett does for the Timberwolves. I want to see if he can lead this team, to the top now, because him and, Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, Derrick Rose should be a pretty nice duo. So let's get going on the simulation. I'm going to tell you guys my favorite power forwards of all time, starting with my favorite of all time, Dirk Nowitzki, guys. Yes, I love Dirk Nowitzki. I'm so sad to see him retire. I'm so happy, though, that he's getting so much respect around the league. It was so cool in the Clippers game a few days ago. Like, we actually got, like, Doc Rivers took the microphone from the PA guy, and he actually made everybody give him a standing ovation just because, as Dirk Nowitzki, Ray told me he's one of the greatest of all time, so that was really cool. Of course, I like Rasheed Wallace, man. Rasheed Wallace, that was a bad man right there. Yo, give me 1 second, guys. Let me do this G League stuff. So yeah, Rasheed Wallace, him and Ben Wallace were like the heart and soul of the Detroit Pistons. I mean, like, Rasheed Wallace, he was not backing down from anybody. I absolutely loved that from him, and sometimes he did shoot a bit too many threes out there. I feel like if he went to the fadeaway a bit more, he would have had an even more of a successful career. So he did get a little lazy at times, but I still liked him nonetheless. Of course, I like Rashard Lewis. I kind of said that earlier, guys. I just love his jump shot. Like, if I was an NBA player and I was 6'10", I would want to be Rashard Lewis. Like, I want that jump shot. It's just absolutely just like the best stroke out there, man. I mean, I know like Chris Smoove used to use that jump shot in 2K a lot. He might actually still use it. I don't think he plays as much 2K these days. And then we got Tim Duncan. I really like Tim Duncan's game a lot just because I like really smart basketball players for the most part. Just guys that get the job done. They're not like cocky about it. Like Tim Duncan would go in there, do his job, and that was the end of it. Like he was a very silent guy out there. And, you know, sometimes when basketball players are that talented, they want to like run their mouth and stuff. But not Tim Duncan. Like, he took the game very seriously. He was just a winner, guys. He was a winner playing it simple, so I absolutely love that about him too. And then finally, another one I really liked a lot was actually Chris Webber. And, you know, the reason I like Chris Webber a lot, I mean, for one, he went to the Michigan Wolverines, which is my favorite college of all time. He also played, I believe, one season on the Detroit Pistons, but that was later on in his career where he was getting kind of old and stuff. But no, man, I loved his passing abilities. Like, he had this one sexy pass. He did it all the time where he would be, like, posting up and he would pass, like, around his back. And oh my god, dude, like I still do that on the court these days just because I love the look of it. I just feel like it's one of the coolest passes out there. So yeah, Chris Webber, he had a decent mid-range shot. I think he tried to expand his game out to 3, but it didn't quite work out for him. So yeah, C-Web's pretty great. And as always, guys, let me know in the comment section below, like, what are your top 5 favorite all-time power forwards, or just your favorite of all time? Very curious about that. We do have one more game against the Denver Nuggets, simulate through date right there, and finish with a L on the season for the Timberwolves. Steph Curry, I believe he's got an MVP in every single video I've done so far, but we got David Boucher, Defensive Player of the Year on the Detroit Pistons. So good on that. Him and Andre Drummond taking over. We got All-NBA first team with Blake Griffin making that. Dirk, of course. Then we got Giannis and David Boucher. David Boucher again for the Detroit Pistons and Karl Malone. So no big surprises there except having duplicates, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so these are all the teams that made the playoffs. Real quick here, we are going to go to the player stats, and I'm just going to kind of scroll through these real quick here to see how people did. Kevin Garnetts actually played like trash, man. Oh my god, like only shot 10 times a game. What's up with that? You know, we've been shooting about 20, 30 times a game this era of the NBA, but yeah, I will say there's a lot of power forwards on here that are from like the 70s and 60s and like 80s era that I just don't really recognize all that much. I just don't know if there was like an era where like was like the power forward position just really weak, or were they just like not putting up stats, or like what was it exactly? I mean, of course you have the Dirks out there and the Tim Duncans and even the Jermaine O'Neals, Kevin Garnett of course too, but I don't know, a lot of these teams just like not very solid power forwards for the most part. I guess I don't really understand why, but went through all the teams there. Let's go ahead and simulate these playoffs. My prediction for the winner is going to be, I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics and Kevin McHales, because you just add him into the mix with Al Horford, and that is going to be a deadly duo in the front court that you do not want to mess with. Although my Detroit Pistons might beat him out. No, they're not going to. Tim Duncan and the Spurs are gone. That one I'm very surprised by. KG and the Timberwolves are gone. Also surprised by that, but at least they made the playoffs in this video. Detroit Pistons gone. Blake Griffin gone from the Clippers. We got the Bucks gone with Vin Baker. Golden State was eliminated, man, by the Memphis Grizzlies. That's what I'm talking about, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Anytime they get eliminated in this game, it's always a good time. So, all right, let's see if we got the Memphis Grizzlies gone now against the Houston Rockets. Denver gone. Philadelphia gone. And we have a finals of OKC, Houston, Boston, and the Washington Wizards with Elvin Hayes. So we actually got 2 Elvin Hayeses on there. So OKC, Wizards gone. Okay, so we got Celtics versus Rockets, and the winner is the Boston Celtics, winning 4-2. Kyrie Irving as MVP at 25 points, 5 rebounds per game. Checking out these close-off stats right here. So James Harden, 24 points. Elvin Hayes, 11 and 10. He actually tried shooting some threes out there too. Didn't quite work out for him. So yeah, man, that is the power forward video. Hope you guys all enjoyed. I'm actually really having a good time making all these. Hope you guys are enjoying them too. Keep in mind, I am on vacation right now, so I did kind of film these in bulk just because I don't know, man, it was a good opportunity for me to like talk about basketball. So if you don't mind dropping that like and leaving that support, it is greatly appreciated. But yeah, until next time, my friends, peace out.